Hi, everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. This is going to be a short webinar. I don't do a whole lot of these, but I wanted to just take a short little bit of time and talk to you about why Texas is about so much more than just why real estate investors should come here, but also to help you understand why people come here, why people are actually moving here, why businesses are moving here, and why you should look at moving here too. And it's funny, you think that, and it's so common for clients to come tour, come buy investment property, and then wind up moving here. And so I love Texas. Y'all know that. I'm a big fan of Texas. I'm a huge fan of North Texas, born and raised here, so I'm loyal too. But it really is the most wonderful state. And so I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about that today. We're actually changing up the class schedule for the next month and a half. I've got some great new topics that we're going to be covering. And I also am going to have a couple clients coming on talking about what they've done with their portfolio and their journey in the last couple of years, so that you can see the power of investing in real estate, even when you don't start with a large portfolio. So that's going to be really exciting, and lots of experts coming on to talk to you about things as we approach election season. We're also going to be looking at what potential changes we could see resulting from any policy changes that pertain to real estate investing, 1031 exchanges, and all the typical topics that we go over anytime we are coming into election season. So before we get started, I want to tell you on October 19th at 2:30, we're going to be talking about how we buy property through an IRA and how that works to build your IRA. And in addition, how you can self-direct to have some control over that and what the difference is. Because of course, traditional investing is cash flow to you monthly, principal pay down, and you can use that money as you see fit. Whereas IRA investing, we're building back into the IRA, but also paying down principal when we use leveraging. So a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the same lending type programs are available through an IRA, even when you are not doing traditional recourse lending. So great thing we're going to talk about there. We've actually been using the same IRA lender our entire career, so he's fantastic, and I can't wait to have him join and talk to you all about what they do and how the current rate climate has affected their products as well. As always, you can go to our website under media and see all of our previous classes for about the last 2.5, 3 years. You can also go onto Facebook to see upcoming webinars and classes. And of course, you can go to Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. All of our classes are up on YouTube. Great way to view them. And of course, there's podcast channels and everywhere else you can find them too. But YouTube is definitely where I prefer, because you can do audio or video, whatever you prefer. Before I jump in, of course, everything we're going to talk about today is our best guidance and judgment based on years of operating a real estate property management and investment firm, as well as being investors ourselves. As I always say, we are one tool in your toolbox, but we are going to do everything we can to guide you on your journey and help get you in touch with those who can help you on your way. Our goal is to help set you up for financial success and connect you with those who can do the same as you move forward with your investment journey. There are no crystal balls, so of course everything I say is my opinion based on my experience, but there are no guarantees, and real estate and any form of investment is always subject to capital loss. Now, one thing I want to tell you before I get started is we are very excited. We are going to be announcing our first real estate investment fund later this afternoon. So keep your eye out for an email on that. It's a fantastic passive income opportunity. We're very excited to bring that to you following my personal real estate investment model of fix and hold properties that have built-in equity. So keep an eye out for that email later today, possibly tomorrow morning, and we'll have a series of webinars going over that opportunity as well. Now, let's talk about Texas. There are so many reasons to move to Texas, and there are so many things about Texas that make us unique. And what I'm going to focus on is just a tidbit of them, but really at the end of the day, it's the entire overall vibe and environment of living and working in Texas. First and foremost, we are the second most populous state in the country, and the population of Texas grew over 1.1%, and we even had heightened growth following that period. The thing that growth translates into is job growth, housing growth, new developments, lots of money pumping in. So when I hear growth, I see dollar signs, and not from an investing perspective, but from a livability perspective. So for example, we have so many highways and such an interconnection of our cities that there's an infinite number of places that you can live and be able to move into nice new areas. And I think that's key, because myself as a parent, also as someone who sometimes I go to Walmart by myself or I go to Target by myself, I want to have the option to be able to live in areas where I can feel that I'm in a safe environment. And the thing I love about Texas is it's so widespread. There's so many places to go that really fit your feel. So we have suburbs that have parks everywhere, and there's literally every corner there's city parks. There are cities that have tons of sports complexes you can go to, cities that have lots of live outdoor music venues. It really is, it's in a way, it's like picking the state you want to live in to live around the type of area that you want, but also by suburb. Each suburb has a bit of a vibe. So Richardson in North Texas is pretty artsy. Allen is full of parks. McKinney's very much centered around their downtown. Plano's all about upscale shopping. There's a vibe of each area, and I love that. And again, it's because of all this development, because of the population growth, that these areas are just having so much new stuff happening, and I love that. Of course, the economy is booming. We have 9% of the US GDP. We're the 9th largest economy in the world, and we have areas like North Texas that we're almost the 20th largest economy in the world. A metro that's that large. And it really is incredible, because when you look at the growth of the US overall, Texas is leading it, 4 of the top 10. And so it really is where everything is happening right now. We do have a lively sports culture. We have a lively arts culture. We have tons of things to do. We have, if you want the ocean, you can get the ocean. You want a desert, you can get the desert. You want to be up in DFW, where it's a little bit different every day with wild temperature swings, you can come to North Texas. But it really gives you a little bit of everything. And we're super drivable. You know, you want to go to the beach in Florida? All right, let's get there in 9 hours. You want to, go visit another state? You can do that. Of course, I will warn you, a lot of people don't realize when they move here that driving across Texas is like driving across country, because we're so large. So make sure you keep that in mind if you're planning a road trip. We still have affordable housing. It's really incredible when you look at what's happening in Texas with the job growth here. If you watched my Why You Should Buy in Texas Now webinar, you already know that almost half of the new jobs coming to North Texas pay over $150,000 a year, and less than 17% pay less than $75,000 a year. So what's happening here and what's coming here is great opportunity. Of course, no state income tax. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Safe cities and suburbs to call home, lots of suburbs. And again, we're suburb driven. Now that's super unique, right? How many states and cities that have these large metros are driven from the outward suburbs, not from the inner cities? And that's huge for me when it comes to safety and areas that I like being in, with, clean shopping and just areas that people want to be in. And so I love that Houston and DFW and these large metros, that they have all the positives of the employment and the great development, but you don't have to live in the inner cities. That's huge. Top-notch educational opportunities. We have a massive number of private schools, colleges, and so much opportunity here for that. We are known as the state with the best food. It's so funny. One of my first clients, going back almost 20 years, they were a family from Canada, and the daughter married an individual here from Texas, and they would come back to Texas all the time because they had to have the food, the best restaurants. And it really is true. We have phenomenal food here. Culture I love. It's just so unique and diverse. We're a mosh pit, and that's a great thing. We're very diverse. And then, of course, plenty of things to do and see. There are museums everywhere, especially when you go into the main suburbs. And there's just so many opportunities of places to go and things to see. Because again, when you have a high income and your cost of living is still quite affordable, even rent affordability is still around 20%, so still very good. That extra income has to be spent somewhere. And so people know that, and developers know that, and they build these places and things for people to go do. Let's talk about the economy for a minute and why Texas has experienced so much growth that translates into great job opportunity. So we have 53 Fortune 500 companies that are headquartered in the state. Of course, almost half of those are here in DFW. Companies like Exxon, AT&T, Hewlett Packard, now Tesla, more coming every day. In 2021, 62 large companies relocated their headquarters to Texas. North Texas, for example, has more than 10,000 small businesses by itself. Between 2020 and 2022, more than 200,000 Verizon customers moved to Texas, and just Verizon customers, to kind of give you some statistics here. We have a low cost of living. Corporate rents are pretty low. Electricity costs are half of what they are in New York or California, and the average gas prices are significantly cheaper. Obviously, everyone's paying more than we all want to right now, but still far less than a lot of these other top cities that we talk about. We have a highly educated workforce, top universities, as I mentioned, like UTA, A&M, Rice, Texas Tech, Baylor. I could go on and on, Texas Women's University, TCU. There's a ton of fantastic universities here in Texas, and that leads to a lot of opportunity for those looking to get educated. We have some of the best infrastructure in the world, including our roads, highways, and seaports, and we have a large reliance on tollway systems that are big and beautiful. One of the things that I get comments on a lot when customers come into town and come see our suburbs is how beautiful and clean our roadways are, our streets are, and that is something that I do believe sets us apart. We have no state income tax. That is a huge one. Okay, so let's take a look. So Port Houston had its busiest month ever on record, April of 2022. And of course, corporate relocations, y'all know everybody's coming here. The employers are just moving here in droves, and they're moving from a lot of places. You can see there's 17 origin states, 3 origin countries. But at the end of the day, the takeaway is North Texas is the place to be. Houston is the place to be. Austin is the place to be, and now even San Antonio is the place to be. Texas is absolutely booming, and that means great opportunity for people looking to have a good quality of life here as well. Specifically, North Texas, everywhere has had price growth. All of these areas we're talking about have seen massive price growth, but DFW has kicked it out of the park. Single largest increase. Median DFW home price increased 21.4% from a year ago. Average sales price is up 30% year over year now at mid-year numbers. San Antonio had the second highest price appreciation among major state metros. Austin home prices are up over 17%, Houston over 16%. The studies show DFW leads the US for the largest percentage increase in median home sale price. Again, 30% year over year. What does this mean for you as a homeowner? What that means is that your property just gained that much value. If you had a $250,000 home, you made $75,000. That's the type of numbers we're talking about with this strong economy. For most people, and many people who aren't investors and don't invest in real estate or don't have the means to, home ownership is the single largest investment they're ever going to make. So being in a market with a strong job growth, job market, and having an appreciating home price is the single largest income they're going to be able to make. And so something very important to keep in mind. Your individual home is one of your best investment vehicles. And in times like this, tapping into HELOCs or things like that to be able to take what we consider negative interest, meaning that you can borrow for less than what your return's going to be. It's a great way for people that don't have the ability to go build portfolios yet. And so we have a lot of people that's where they get started. And I have a client that's going to be coming on talking about that being their starting path. Now, best for last, no state income tax. We are one of 9 states that doesn't have an individual income tax. So we have other areas that we get our revenue from, and this is a huge, huge difference. So not only is your cost of living lower, you're also not paying taxes to the state. And this is a great reason why Texas is a great investor state. That's because we do not have state income tax for investors either. So let's talk about the labor market review before we end. So 23 of 26 metros have added jobs over the month of June, and that's a combined increase of over almost 50,000, 48,800. Each metro is continuing to have positive annual growth. Seasonally adjusted unemployment for Texas is 4.1, DFW is about 3.3. We had the best recovery in COVID of all other large metros here in North Texas. Lots of huge news pieces coming out about Texas and North Texas and Houston. Goldman Sachs, 5,000 new jobs. Of course, the TI plant up in Sherman Denison, and the second thing that was just signed up there for all this chip manufacturing. You've probably heard me talk about this 1,000 times. We're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs. Spirit Airlines just added 450 at Houston Airport. So there's just a lot happening here, and it really presents amazing opportunities. And in a time where so many businesses have gone to work from home and everyone's looking at where they live, no longer so beholden to employers, it's important to look at where you live, not just the specific home you live in, but also the state you live in, the environment you live in. Is it meeting your goals? Is it helping you get to where you want to get to? Especially as a real estate investor, are you in a place that is helping you succeed in your journey? If you're living in a state that's penalizing you for being an investor, making you pay taxes on income from other states, all sorts of different crazy things are out there that penalize us in ways that sometimes we don't even realize. And so that's always something we want to go back to the layout for. Now, I think at the end of the day, how this all works, and I talk about this a lot in my investment classes, the geographic layout of Texas and our large metros is so unique. And that's because we are suburb driven. And I truly believe it's why prices have artificially stayed suppressed. It's why we continue to have these housing shortages, because people are driving all this construction down by the city, but people want to live out in the suburbs. And it really opens up such a wide geographic location that prices can't go to the crazy levels like they do in Chicago and New York and LA, because there's not one central place everybody's trying to be next to. And of course, having this wide geographic makeup means that we need lots of money in our roads, lots of money in our schools, lots of money in our just infrastructure to support the people relocating to these suburbs. And again, these suburbs, you can pick one that fits your lifestyle. And that's a great opportunity to really have a great selection of where you want to live. It's not like you're stuck in inner city Chicago having to, live 5 minutes from your work because traffic is so bad. If you go 30 miles, it's going to take you 2.5 hours to commute. So it's just physically, our layout is very different, and it feeds into everything that we have here. I pulled this little list of the pros of living in Texas. I thought it was pretty explanatory, but I just want to read this off to you because I really liked a lot of their points. A broad range of living environments, a reasonable cost of living, plentiful job and education opportunities, no state income taxes, gentle winter climate. Of course, you're dependent, but certainly not like we see up north. High potential for severe weather. We do get thunderstorms, although if you're like me, you love watching them. High property and sales taxes. Of course, that's all relative, right? Consequences of urbanization. I thought that was an interesting one. And it's not liking my last slide. So pull up the link. It's a great link, but it basically just talks about the different things to consider when coming here. Now, the one thing I will warn you about is our weather, because a lot of people don't know. You come tour when most people come in town like over spring break or summer, so you see the really pretty sunny weather and super hot, but we actually have a very diverse climate here. So in wintertime, we can actually get pretty cold. We can get down into the low single and double digits, but we do these hard, fast freezes. So it's not like you're going out driving. Everything shuts down. It's ice on the roads, putting, everyone going out of school for a few days, because our roads are so hot that the snow hits or the rain hits, it melts, and then it freezes into a sheet overnight. So it's not really traversable. So that is something to keep in mind. If you're coming here looking for snow, that's not going to happen. And in summer, we do get very hot, but it's not a very dry heat, also not a very humid heat. We're kind of perfectly right in the middle. So if you're used to the desert, it's not like that. And if you're used to tropical climates like Florida, it's not like that. I personally love North Texas weather because I feel like every day it's something different, and it gets variety. And about 6 months out of the year, you're 70s, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And so really, to sum it all up, I love Texas. I think you guys know that. I love Texas from an investment standpoint. I love living in Texas. And I certainly think, in light of where we are today in the world, in this new post-COVID world, that we all have to look at where we live and if it's fitting our lifestyle and what our goals are. And certainly for those of you residing in states like New York and California, that's a real hard conversation and thought to have, but I think it's one that's important. So I hope everyone has a great afternoon. We'll send out a new class schedule the next couple of days of the great classes we have later this month and through September. And then just go ahead and mark your calendar for that IRA class. Jason Zook is fantastic, and he'll give us some great education and updates on what we're seeing in the IRA lending world. Otherwise, you guys know how to reach out. Thanks so much for attending, and I'll talk to everyone soon. Also, keep in mind that fund email will be coming out this evening. Thanks so much.